Welcome to my channel. Subscribe, listen, and enjoy my stories every day. Betty's cell phone lay on the coffee table, vibrating slightly as it received another message. She was in the kitchen, her voice faintly humming a tune as she hurriedly prepared to meet her friends. The evening sun filtered through the curtains, casting a warm glow over the room. My eyes flicked to her phone again. She hadn't mentioned any plans earlier today, and it was unusual for her to rush out like this. A knot formed in my stomach, a feeling I couldn't shake. I hesitated for a moment, my hand hovering over the sleek black device. I knew I shouldn't invade her privacy, but something inside me urged me on. My gut told me there was something I needed to see, something she wasn't telling me. Before I could talk myself out of it, I picked up the phone, unlocking it easily with the code I had seen her type in 100 times. The messages were open. A name stood out, Sweet Kitty. I frowned, scrolling through the brief conversation. And then I saw it. Miss you, waiting for you at 8 at the coffee shop. My hand went cold as I read the message again, disbelief settling into my bones. Miss you? Since when did Betty have someone she missed? My pulse quickened, and my chest felt tight, as though an invisible weight had been dropped on me. It felt surreal, like something out of a nightmare. The realization crashed over me like icy water. Betty was meeting someone tonight. But this wasn't just anyone. This Sweet Kitty was clearly more than a friend. I had suspected small things for a while, her longer than usual work hours, the sudden gym sessions, how she was always smiling at her phone. But I had never let myself think that she could actually be unfaithful. Betty had always been charming, the kind of person who made you feel like the center of her world. We'd been married for years, built a life together, shared secrets, hopes, and dreams. And now, this. I could hear her footsteps in the kitchen, the soft clinking of dishes as she cleaned up. My mind raced, replaying our recent interactions. Were there signs? Should I have noticed? How could she do this to me? The betrayal gnawed at my insides like a parasite. I put her phone back on the table, quickly composing myself. The last thing I wanted was for her to see me rattled. Not yet. She stepped out of the kitchen, pulling her jacket over her shoulders, her face lighting up with a practiced smile. Hey, hon, I'm heading out with the girls. I'll be back later tonight, alright? I forced a smile, nodding, but my mind was elsewhere, spinning with plans and thoughts. What should I do next? Confront her? Wait and follow her to this coffee shop and see who Sweet Kitty was? My emotions were a chaotic swirl of anger, betrayal, and a strange, dark satisfaction that I had discovered the truth. My heart wanted to scream at her, accuse her of every lie she had ever told me. But my mind urged caution, reminding me to be patient. There would be a time for confrontation, but not now. All right. Have fun, I managed to say, my voice steadier than I felt. She gave me a quick kiss on the cheek, something that now felt hollow, an empty gesture from a woman who had already checked out of our marriage. I watched her leave, the door closing softly behind her. For a moment, the house was still, the silence stretching out painfully. Then the floodgates opened. My thoughts came crashing in, anger building with every passing second. How long had this been going on? Who was this man, or woman? I didn't even know. I stood up, pacing the room, trying to get a grip on my emotions. Revenge. That was all I could think about. Betty had betrayed me, lied to me, destroyed the trust we had built. I wasn't going to sit around and let her get away with it. But how? The anger felt like fire in my veins, the need for justice pulsing through me. I knew one thing for sure, I had to hit her where it hurt. She had shattered my world, so I would shatter hers. But it wouldn't be immediate. I needed time to plan, to figure out exactly how to break her life the way she had broken mine. I sat back down on the couch, my mind working through the possibilities. Financial ruin. Emotional torment. Perhaps I could use her secret against her, slowly leaking it to her friends, her family. No, that was too easy. I wanted her to suffer, to feel the pain and humiliation she had inflicted on me. It had to be personal, devastating. The minutes ticked by, and then an idea began to take shape. What if I caught her in the act? What if I walked in on her meeting Sweet Kitty and exposed her right there in front of everyone? The public shame, the look on her face when she realized I knew everything, that would be the first step. But it wouldn't end there. I pulled out my phone and checked the time. It was 7:15. If the message was right, she was supposed to meet this person at 8. That gave me just enough time to make it to the coffee shop and see who she was meeting. Grabbing my coat, I hurried to the door, my heart pounding. I didn't know exactly what I was going to do when I got there, but I knew I couldn't let her walk away from this. Not without consequences. As I stepped outside into the cool evening air, I felt a strange sense of clarity. This wasn't just about finding out the truth, it was about reclaiming control. Betty thought she could hide her affair, keep me in the dark. But she was wrong. I would expose her, and when I did, I would make sure she never saw it coming. My phone buzzed in my pocket as I reached my car. I pulled it out, half expecting another message from Sweet Kitty. But it wasn't. It was Betty. "See you later tonight, babe." I stared at the message, my jaw tightening. "Not if I see you first," I thought as I slid into the driver's seat, my hands gripping the wheel. Tonight, everything would change. This was only the beginning. The stage was set for a confrontation, one that would unravel the threads of deception she had woven. The game had just begun, and I wasn't planning on losing. I arrive at the coffee shop just as the streetlights flicker on. It's a quiet little place tucked away at the corner of a busy intersection, not the kind of spot that draws too much attention. Perfect for a secret rendezvous. My heart races, the adrenaline coursing through me as I park the car across the street, my hands gripping the steering wheel so hard that my knuckles turn white. I check my phone, 7:55 p.m. Betty will be here any minute. The message had been clear, "Miss you, waiting for you at 8 at the coffee shop." It's insane to think this is real. I keep replaying the moment I read it, wondering how I could have been so blind. She has been slipping away from me, piece by piece, right under my nose. I step out of the car, my breath clouding in the cool evening air. Crossing the street, I slide into the shadows near the entrance, trying to stay out of sight. My body feels tense, every muscle coiled and ready. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do, but I know one thing, I need to see who this Sweet Kitty is. The minutes tick by slowly, and I can feel my anxiety building, but I force myself to stay calm. And then, at 8:03, I see her. Betty. My wife of 5 years. The woman who, just hours ago, kissed me on the cheek and told me she was going to meet her friends. She walks toward the coffee shop with her usual grace, her dark hair pulled back, wearing the scarf I bought her last Christmas. A surge of anger burns in my chest. The same woman who had just texted me sweet nothings is about to meet her lover. I stay in the shadows as she enters the coffee shop. A few moments pass before I follow, keeping a safe distance. I peek through the glass windows, careful not to be seen. Betty takes a seat in the far corner, her eyes scanning the room. She doesn't seem nervous. In fact, she looks comfortable. Happy. My stomach turns at the sight of it. She pulls out her phone and checks it, probably messaging her mysterious lover to confirm she's here. I wonder if she's texting me, playing her little game of deception. I lean closer to the window, trying to get a better view of her expressions, but before I can analyze too much, the door opens again. A man walks in, tall and broad-shouldered, with a confident stride. He's wearing a dark leather jacket, his hair slicked back. There's an air of arrogance about him that instantly irritates me. He glances around the cafe, and then his eyes land on Betty. A slow smile spreads across his face. I can't believe what I'm seeing. She stands up to greet him, and without hesitation, they embrace, an intimate, familiar hug. Not a quick, friendly greeting, but something more. He leans down and whispers something in her ear, making her laugh. My hands clench into fists as I stand frozen by the window. The urge to storm in and confront them is almost unbearable, but something holds me back. Not yet. I need to see more. I need to know how deep this betrayal runs. They sit down together, and I watch them, unable to tear my eyes away. Betty is smiling, her face animated as they talk. She looks so free. Happier than I've seen her in months. There's a light in her eyes that I thought had been lost to the stresses of work and life. But no, she's found it here, with him. I need to get closer. I slip inside the coffee shop, keeping my head down as I move toward a table near the back. I choose a spot where I can still see them but remain unnoticed. The murmur of the other patrons and the clinking of cups provide cover for my movements. I'm close enough now that I can hear fragments of their conversation. "So glad we could finally do this," the man says, his voice low and smooth. His hand is resting on the table, inches from hers. She doesn't pull away. "I've missed you," Betty replies softly, her eyes flickering with something I haven't seen in a long time. Desire. Affection. She leans in slightly, her fingers brushing against his. "I hate sneaking around like this, but it's worth it." Worth it? My blood boils. All those late nights at the office, all the lies about work dinners and drinks with friends, it had all been for this. For him. My heart pounds so loud I'm sure they can hear it, but I force myself to stay calm. I need to keep watching, to let this play out. Bursting in now would give her the power to deny it, to twist the situation. But if I see it all unfold, if I have the proof, she won't be able to escape. Their conversation flows easily, with stolen glances and soft touches that make my skin crawl. At one point, she laughs, throwing her head back the way she used to when we first started dating. I remember how that laugh used to make me feel, how it was one of the things that made me fall in love with her. Now it feels like a dagger to the heart. I can't take it anymore. I grab my phone and snap a quick picture of them sitting there together, their hands intertwined. It's not much, but it's a start. This is the beginning of her downfall. A plan starts to form in my mind. This won't be some impulsive, angry outburst. No, I'll make sure she feels the weight of her betrayal slowly, like poison spreading through her life. I'll hit her where it hurts, take away the things that matter most to her. And when she's left with nothing, she'll realize what she's done. But for now, I watch. I wait. I need more ammunition to destroy her world. The man stands up first, extending a hand to help Betty out of her seat. She takes it, her smile wide and bright. They're leaving, and I know I need to follow them. I let them get ahead of me as they walk out of the cafe and down the street, oblivious to the fact that I'm just a few steps behind. They turn a corner, heading toward a parking lot. I hang back, my heart racing as I watch them stop near a sleek black car. Betty laughs again, and the man leans in to kiss her. A full, deep kiss that confirms everything. She's gone. The woman I thought I knew, the woman I loved, is gone. I snap another picture, my hands shaking with fury. This will be the last time she betrays me. I swear it. Betty and her lover climb into the car, and I watch as they drive off into the night. My hands are trembling, my mind racing with 1,000 thoughts. But amid the chaos, one thing is crystal clear: I won't let this go. I won't be the fool left behind. She's destroyed our marriage, and now I'll destroy her. This is just the beginning. The drive home is a blur. My knuckles are white as I grip the steering wheel, the weight of what I just witnessed pressing down on me. Betty, my wife, in the arms of another man. Laughing, touching, kissing. It's all playing over and over in my mind, like a bad movie I can't switch off. I pull into the driveway and sit in the car for a moment, staring at our house. The house we built together, where we were supposed to make memories, raise a family. Now, it feels hollow. Fake. Just like her. My phone vibrates, pulling me out of my thoughts. It's a text from Betty. Just finished up with the girls. Heading home soon. Love you. I almost laugh at the audacity of it. She's probably on her way back now, having spent the evening with that man, and yet she's still pretending. The nerve. My hands shake as I set the phone down. But I don't respond. Let her think I'm asleep when she gets back. The facade ends tonight. I step out of the car, the cool air hitting my face as I walk up to the front door. Everything feels surreal, like I'm watching someone else's life unravel. But no, this is mine. Betty is tearing apart everything we built, and she doesn't even know I'm onto her. But she will. Soon. Inside the house, everything is just as she left it. Her coffee mug still sits on the counter, her jacket draped over the chair. It's amazing how ordinary things can feel so tainted. I head to the living room and sit down, trying to collect my thoughts. I need a plan. I reach for my laptop. If I'm going to make her pay, I need to be smart about it. No impulsive moves. I open a folder and start organizing the pictures I took of her and her lover tonight. They're clear enough to prove what I saw, but this is just the beginning. I need more. More evidence. More leverage. As I sift through the photos, the wheels in my mind start turning. Betty has always cared about appearances, her reputation at work, the way she's seen by her friends and family. If I expose her affair in the right way, it will destroy her. But that's not enough. I need to make sure she feels the pain of betrayal like I do. Slowly. Methodically. Suddenly, the front door clicks open, and I hear Betty's footsteps as she walks in. I close the laptop and lean back on the couch, feigning casualness. "Hey, Han," she calls out from the hallway, her voice cheerful and light, as if nothing had happened. I don't answer immediately, letting the silence hang in the air. She steps into the living room, her smile fading slightly when she sees me sitting there. "You're still up?" she asks, slipping off her shoes and moving toward me. "Thought you'd be in bed by now." I look up at her, studying her face. She looks the same, calm, composed. But now I know what lies underneath. The lies, the deceit. "Yeah, just couldn't sleep," I reply, my voice neutral. She frowns, walking over and sitting next to me. "Everything okay?" I almost want to laugh at how perfect her performance is. "Just thinking," I say, my eyes locking onto hers, daring her to see if she can sense the shift. "How was your night?" "Oh, she shrugs, "just drinks with the girls." "Same old stuff." "You." I can barely contain the anger bubbling up inside me, but I force myself to stay calm. "Nothing much," I say, keeping my tone even. "Worked on a few things for the office." "It was a quiet night." She nods, clearly relieved that I'm not pressing her. She leans in and kisses me on the cheek, the gesture so hollow it almost makes me flinch. "I'm going to take a shower," she says, standing up and heading down the hall. I watch her go, my heart pounding in my chest. I know I should confront her, but I hold back. Not yet. There's still time. Time to make her pay. As the sound of the shower starts, I open my laptop again and start digging through her social media. There's nothing obvious, she's careful. But I know there are cracks, and I'm going to find them. I hack into her email account, my fingers moving swiftly over the keyboard. I've always been good with tech, and she's never been one to cover her tracks too well. Sure enough, there it is. An email from an unknown address, dated a few days ago. The subject line simply reads, "Miss you." I click it open, my heart racing. Can't wait to see you again. Last night was amazing. Same time next week. I feel a surge of rage as I read it. She's been meeting him regularly. This wasn't a one-time thing. They've been seeing each other for God knows how long. The depth of her betrayal hits me like a punch to the gut, but it also fuels me. This is exactly what I need. I take screenshots of the emails, saving everything. This will be my weapon, the one that destroys her perfect little world. I lean back, feeling a strange sense of satisfaction. This is just the beginning. Betty thinks she's getting away with it, but she has no idea what's coming. The water shuts off, and I close the laptop again, slipping it back onto the coffee table as Betty emerges from the bathroom, her hair wrapped in a towel. She smiles at me, that same fake smile she's been wearing for months. Coming to bed, she asks. I nod, standing up and following her to the bedroom, my mind still spinning with plans. This isn't over. Not by a long shot. As we lie in bed, her breathing soft and even, I stare at the ceiling, wide awake. The betrayal still burns, but now there's something else alongside it. A cold, calculated determination. Tomorrow, I'll start gathering more evidence. I'll follow her again, see how far this goes. I need to know everything before I strike. And when I do, it will be devastating. The idea of revenge keeps me awake, my mind racing with possibilities. I know one thing for sure, Betty will regret this. She has no idea what's coming. I close my eyes, forcing myself to breathe slowly, the darkness of the room mirroring the growing darkness in my heart. This isn't just about getting back at her anymore. This is about taking control, about making sure she never forgets what she did to me. The retribution is coming. And it's going to hurt. The intrigue and tension remain high as the pieces fall into place. Betty's life, so carefully constructed, is about to crumble, and she won't see it coming. I'll make sure of that. The next few days are a blur of planning. Every night, Betty continues to act like nothing is wrong, oblivious to the storm that's about to hit. But I'm patient. Every lie she tells, every smile she gives me while she's sneaking around with that man only fuels the fire inside me. I've gathered more evidence, texts, emails, photos, enough to ruin her completely. But I'm not interested in simply confronting her. No, that's too easy. I want her to feel the pain she's inflicted on me, and I want her lover to suffer, too. Tonight, it all comes to a head. I've planned everything down to the last detail. Betty thinks I'm going on a business trip, just like I told her. But instead of boarding a flight, I'm parked outside the restaurant where I know she's meeting him. She's become predictable in her routine, and I've been tracking her movements for days. This will be the last time. The plan is already in motion. I've sent her lover, who I've learned is named Mark, an anonymous email. In it, I hinted that Betty's husband knows everything and is planning to expose their affair. I made sure to include just enough truth to make him panic. By now, he's probably freaking out, wondering what's going to happen next. I check my watch. 7:50 p.m. She'll be arriving soon. I'm parked in a discreet spot across the street, my eyes on the restaurant entrance. The message I sent Mark instructed him to meet Betty in a private room at the back, under the guise of discussing their future. He's expecting a quiet, intimate evening where they can strategize how to deal with me. What he doesn't know is that I've set them both up. I glance at my phone and send a quick text to Betty. It's simple. Love you, babe. Hope your night's going well. A test. I want to see how she responds. A minute later, my phone buzzes. Love you too. Everything's great. See you tomorrow. I clench my jaw, staring at the words on the screen. The lies are almost impressive in their brazenness. But this is it, the final night she'll get away with any of it. At 8:05, I see her walk into the restaurant, her usual confident stride betraying no hint of the deception she's carrying with her. She's dressed to impress, wearing that tight red dress she knows I like. But tonight, it's for him. Not me. I wait a few more minutes before I make my move. I step out of the car, the cool night air sharpening my focus. As I cross the street and walk toward the restaurant, my heart pounds in my chest, not from fear or nerves, but from anticipation. This is it. The moment everything unravels. The hostess greets me with a smile as I enter. "Table for one, sir." "No, actually," I say, my voice steady. "I'm meeting some friends in the private room at the back. I believe it's under the name Mark." She checks the reservation list and nods, gesturing for me to follow her. "Right this way." I follow her down a narrow hallway, my pulse quickening. As we approach the private room, I can hear the murmur of voices, Betty and Mark. My stomach twists with anger, but I keep my composure. This has to be perfect. The hostess knocks gently on the door before opening it, allowing me to step inside. Betty and Mark are sitting across from each other at the table, both of them mid-conversation. The look of shock that spreads across Betty's face when she sees me is priceless. "David," she stammers, her eyes wide. What are you doing here?" Mark looks equally stunned, his hand still resting on the table, inches from Betty's. He glances between us, panic flashing in his eyes. "I think we need to talk," I say calmly, closing the door behind me and locking it. The sound of the lock clicking echoes in the small room. Betty stands up, her face pale. "David, I can explain." "Explain what?" I interrupt, my voice icy. "How you've been lying to me for months. How you've been sneaking around with him." I point to Mark, who looks like he's about to bolt from the room. "Look, man, I didn't," Mark begins, but I cut him off. "Sit down," I growl, taking a step toward him. He hesitates, then sits, his face drained of color. Betty is trembling now, her hands shaking as she reaches for me. "David, please, it's not what you think." "It's exactly what I think," I snap, pulling my phone from my pocket. I swipe through the photos, the texts, the emails, and toss it onto the table in front of them. I've got all the proof I need. Every lie. Every time you met him. Do you really think I'm that stupid? Betty stares at the phone, her breath coming in shallow gasps. Mark shifts uncomfortably in his seat, but he doesn't dare move. "I trusted you," I say, my voice low, filled with venom. "I gave you everything. And this is how you repay me." "David, I'm sorry," she whispers, tears welling in her eyes. "It was a mistake, I didn't mean for it to go this far." I laugh bitterly. "A mistake? You've been meeting him for months. How is that a mistake?" "It's a choice, Betty. And now, you're going to pay for it." Her eyes widen in fear, and Mark finally speaks up. "Look, man, we can work this out, all right? No one has to know." "Everyone will know," I say coldly. "Your wife, Betty's friends, her family, her job. I'm going to destroy everything you have." I pull out a folder from my jacket, divorce papers, already drawn up, along with copies of all the evidence I've gathered. I toss it onto the table. "Sign these," I say to Betty, "or I will make sure your life falls apart piece by piece." Betty breaks down, sobbing, but I don't flinch. This is the moment I've been waiting for. I turn to Mark. "You'll be hearing from my lawyer too," I say. "I'm going to make sure your wife knows exactly what you've been up to. You won't just lose Betty, you'll lose everything." Mark looks at me, horror dawning in his eyes. "Please, don't do this. It's already done." Betty picks up the pen, her hands shaking so badly that she can barely hold it. She signs the papers, tears streaming down her face. When she finishes, she drops the pen, her shoulders slumped in defeat. "Goodbye, Betty," I say coldly, turning to leave. I hope it was worth it. As I walk out of the room, I feel a strange sense of satisfaction. It's over. The betrayal is complete, and so is my revenge. I'll never see her again. And that's exactly the way I want it.